And we are back once again with LaunchPad. Hello everyone, my name's James, I'm here from Pocket Gamer, and this is day 2 of LaunchPad number 3. I'm going to remove this attractive red outline here. Oh, you can see I've been futzing about in my streaming setup. OBS decided that today was the day when it was going to move everything that I'd placed on the screen slightly to the left, and so there were some shenanigans behind the scenes. But that's it, that's as unslick as it's getting. It's not. We're going to mess it up all the way through. It's going to be fun. Come with us. We're going to be talking about mobile games, as we always do on this show. We were here yesterday at 5 p.m. UK time, and likewise today. It's a 2-day event during which we'll be covering brand new mobile games releases, updates. We're going to be showing you trailers of stuff you've never seen before, gameplay of things that you've never seen before. I'm going to try and play something live that's probably going to go horribly wrong, because I don't like preparing these live bits. So I've already told my fantastic co-host today that all I've done is booted up the menu screen, and I haven't played any further because I want to fail in front of all of you lovely people. I've got a co-host. I've already hinted at her. She's coming your way right now. Here she is. It's Danielle. It's Danielle, just right there. Hi, Danielle.
Hello,
Hey.
James. Great to be back on LaunchPad. LaunchPad
Yes.
3, isn't it? God, I had to check which one we were doing.
I know, the numbers get higher and higher. You're not new to these grounds, you've been here before. But for anyone who's watching now who maybe hasn't seen the previous ones, what is it you do?
I am the editor of PocketGamer.biz, which is PocketGamer.com's B2B counterpart. So we look at the business of mobile games rather than how nice they look. So it's nice to be here to talk about how nice they look for a change.
Yeah, I guess this is your break, is it? Where you get
It
to
is.
go, look at forget the numbers, look at the nice shiny car textures and that. That's cool, isn't it? No, it's good. And actually, the Pocket Gamer podcast that we do weekly often have Matthew Ford on, who is also another PG Biz alumni. So we get a lot of the B2B as well as the B2C. It's already sounding a little bit inside baseball bit. Business to business or business to consumer is what those words mean. But it's dry to talk about games like that because you forget that playing them is sort of why we're all here. And that's the point of all of this, because mobile gaming is kind of the form of gaming that is most accessible to the most people. And it often comes in for a lot of the most vitriolic criticism, I think it would be fair to say, because a lot of people see mobile gaming as not real gaming, and there are games on the platform that maybe don't do the platform a great service in terms of its reputation. But what we try as much as we can to do, both on PG.com and PGBiz, is highlight the interesting stuff that appears, the best games, the stuff that actually uses the platform and the touchscreen specifically to its fullest. And we're going to be covering some of that stuff today. As always, it's going to be some big, expensive looking games from massive publishers and developers, some small indie games from literally one person who's been doing it, who we found out about the extended release of their new game via Twitter about 10 minutes ago. So that's one way to find out. But we've already made the adjustments to the schedule, made the changes, and we're going to be bringing them to you as always. Now, we are live on both Twitch at the minute and YouTube as well, our own YouTube channel. Do throw questions and comments and whatever else into the chat. I'll keep half an eye on them, and I'm sure Danielle will do likewise. Should we just get stuck in?
Let's look at a game.
Let's look at a game. That's why we're all here, isn't it? Lovely. All right, then. Let's kick things off with some fast cars. Project Cars Go, then. So, this is a new project that's been in development for quite some time. I think a couple of years they've been working on this one. And we can reveal it's coming to iOS and Android on March the 23rd. Now, we've been following on the site for a little bit. How familiar are you with Project Cars as a whole, or Cars as a whole, Danielle?
I'm definitely familiar with the concept of cars, you know. But
Nice.
yeah, I do love a car game, James. Not so much Project Cars. I haven't really gotten into that franchise as much. I'm more into the sort of like cute indie racing games. Been playing a lot of Hot Shot, a bit of Art of Rally. But this is, it's definitely within my wheelhouse.
What a flying start today.
It's looking good so far. Yeah.
Well, we threw in a little bit of sort of exclusive footage in there. You saw a bit of the trailer there that has been shown for a while, but in the middle you saw a little shot of someone actually physically playing the game. That hasn't been aired before, but it has been out in kind of a beta soft launch state. And I think people were initially like surprised by the form the game took, because we saw the trailers and though people familiar with Project Cars as a franchise were like, okay, cool, it's going to be a fully fledged racing game, steering and the whole business. And it turns out that it's not that kind of game. It's probably got more in common with something like CSR racing, insofar as you're not controlling the steering, you're doing the braking, you're doing the gear changing, and it's all about timing in the same way that CSR Go kind of is. Which does work very well for mobile, and it makes it a specific kind of game. And I think other people who are maybe expecting it to be more of a traditional racer were like, oh. And there was a wee bit of outrage on that.
I think the controls of a traditional racer are quite difficult to translate, especially to touchscreen as well. I think I would find that a little bit awkward. So it's a nice alternative to somebody that wants a racing game on mobile, but can't really figure out those controls, because I know I would struggle with that.
They are tricky, and we did a list. If you were watching yesterday's show, actually, we showed our kind of top 10 racers on the whole of mobile, and some of those went all the way back to like 2013. Real Racing 3 is still has a very broad fan base and surprisingly plays okay. It was a controversial game when it came out because it was one of those ones that sort of popularized, or was one of the first to really instigate the whole free-to-play thing. Certainly within the racing genre, and just on mobile as a whole, because Real Racing 1 and 2 were premium, and then the third one came out and it was free-to-play, and everyone went, not sure about this. And now we live in a free-to-play world. So it kind of had a massive historical impact. But in terms of just pure like how the cars handle and how the game performs, surprisingly well, still good. So you can get those more traditional driving games over onto mobile and have it work. But there is something to be said for converting things specifically for a mobile audience and doing a different kind of game. And I think that the outrage, if you want to call it that, but the reaction to this was more to do with expectations.
Indeed.
Because if you come in all hot and heavy for a full big racer and it's something else, you're like, oh, but I was expecting peanut butter and I got Marmite. This is not what I ordered. So I get why people were frustrated. But CSR racing, I am getting that right. Is it CSR 2? I'm trying to think of the one where you just you press hold and you do drag racing. Someone will correct me in the chat. Either way, the big, incredibly popular mobile franchise one, which is just based on really acceleration and braking at the right time and changing gear. It works for a particular reason. And specifically with the mobile stuff, the tapping rhythmic stuff is nice and easy. It's very good to pick up. The other thing is it's about collectibles. It's about grabbing the cars. And with these guys, because they have all the licenses, they have all the cars. These are real world vehicles that you're going to be racing around. That, I guess, adds a lot for people who are into that kind of thing, actual petrol heads. Not really me, because I'm not a petrol head, but people who know what cars are properly and know where Brands Hatch is, for example, they're well into it. I think it's great. With that in mind, so you get licenses for real-world vehicles and tracks, historic cars, futuristic concept models apparently going to appear in there as well. You've got vehicle classes including GT3, open wheel, prototype and road, and locations like I've never even heard of this, Autodromo Nacional Monza. I've heard of Monza. The Autodromo, not so much. And also things like Laguna Seca. So big, proper, actual tracks and all that business. But don't go in expecting, traditional steery control business. I think I asked Charlie, who was on the stream yesterday, regarding racing. Have you ever owned a game which has had one of them steering wheels? Have you ever gotten into the full sim racing thing? And I'm going to ask you as well.
Not really, no. I do remember like having one in the house, like in my formative years, but it was never really for me because I played a lot of Colin McRae on the PS1.
Oh.
But I don't have any memories of doing that with a wheel, so maybe I kind of missed out on that.
Charlie said yes, and then went on to say that it was that Wii one with the plastic, the plastic wheel that you stick your Wiimote in.
Yeah.
And I'm
'Cause
like,
you could do that with Mario Kart, couldn't you?
exactly. But I'm sorry, I'm not counting that as a proper racing wheel.
No.
Unless it's attached to a big heavy axle and it cost 150 quid and you used it 3 times. That's the sign of a true racing connoisseur. So there you go. Project Cars Go. It's going to be out March 23rd, iOS and Android, free to play. If you are interested in that sort of thing, check it out. But bear in mind what you are checking out. Someone's calling me a cheapskate for only spending 150. This is Steve from our PG crew who is into his sim business. He's a motorcycle man. And he's got all the gear, all the hardware. Goodness. I was talking about the guy who I know who plays Elite and has kind of foot pedals like you have in a helicopter. Yeah. Steve, he's got an actual helicopter just reskinned in the backyard. Anyway, let's do some more games, shall we? Move from fast cars to Lost Twins. That looks delightfully mellow, doesn't it? It's quite the opposite of the fast cars psycho racing. So, Lost Twins then. This is a sequel to a game, eponymous game called Lost Twins, which is going to be coming to iOS and Android in the not too distant future. We don't have a specific release date. But we can tell you it's following Ben and Abby finding themselves lost in a magical and surreal world, like you saw over there. The way the game works is a mixture of like puzzly business, a lot like the first one. And that takes the form of the characters themselves kind of moving around and trying to, for example, use physics stuff. So boulders to smash giant domes and platforming things as well. But it also uses that thing where you move actual rooms or bits of the level around. Like the actual, like sliding tile puzzles almost. Which makes me think of, do you remember that game? Oh, it's going to fall out of my head now. But the one that Hideo Kojima said was his favourite game of the year, Framed. Framed on mobile.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I didn't play it, but I remember seeing it about, and it was very clever.
Yes. That was another one where it was all about moving kind of panels around of a comic, presented as a comic, and you needed to make the scene work chronologically or have characters moving from one to the other and then switch them around. And so it was kind of like playing with, like, you're physically adjusting the geometry, if you like, of the level while things were moving inside of it. And it was dead smart, and we hadn't seen anything like it before. And I feel like this is also pulling a little bit of inspiration from that. So like it says here, you have to rearrange tiles that make up the levels themselves, and that will alter the structure of the stage and probably change how you interact with the stuff too. Moving away from racing stuff, what about puzzle games? I've got a real split in my friend group of people who really get into these things massively and people who are immediately turned off at the idea of having to do an environmental puzzle. Where do you stand?
I'm kind of the same because all of my brain cells just sort of switch off one by one the moment I open a puzzle game. Actually, I just played Thomas Was Alone for the first time, which is a platforming puzzler.
Yeah.
And I was playing through it and it was great, but I just feel myself getting stupider and stupider every time I play a puzzle game. And they're supposed to be relaxing, aren't they? You're supposed to unwind with a bit of a soft puzzle, but any puzzle that I seem to attempt, it just boggles me. So I really try to enjoy them. but I'm just too stupid.
And it's not that. I think the best puzzlers do that. The best puzzle games make you feel really, really, really stupid until you get it right, and then they make you feel like a genius.
Indeed.
And they need to break you down before they can build you up again. And maybe you just like go nuts to this just before you get to the revelation, and so you just leave it going, feeling terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe not the idea, but yes, those kind of things really work for me. I enjoy them. I like having stuff thrown at me. I like being confused for a while. And yes, it can impact your ego, but I mean that relies on you having an ego in the first place to destroy. So if you come in thinking that you're pathetic and awful, then I guess, every time you get it wrong, you go, yeah, this tracks. I'm bad. But then you get something right, and suddenly you're a genius and you're a god. And all those, like, someone's already started talking about The Room in the chat, which is a favourite topic of mine, because that's another one where, A, it's got the clever, puzzly stuff that's really, really confusing and obscure until it isn't. And it's also got the creepy horror vibe that I really like as well. But certainly the stuff I've seen in this sequel one that's got me interested enough, in fact, potentially get involved in the closed alpha test. They are currently accepting signups for their closed alpha, which will be taking place, as I say, in the not too distant future prior to the release. You get to play the first 5 minutes of the game in exchange for offering a bit of feedback about the game. So if you liked what you saw in the trailer there's a chance to get in there and see it before anybody else does. And don't let platform hold you back, because it is going to be both Google Play and App Store stuff. You said you played Thomas Was Alone. Was that on Switch? Did you play the mobile version? Because I think it came to mobile as well, or...
I did. I played the Switch version because it recently came out on the Switch. I'm a very late comer to that game.
Yeah, it's a while back, wasn't it? But I guess it was the thing that made Bithell big, wasn't it? That was the springboard for him. Became the indie darling afterwards.
Indeed, he did.
Yeah, but I think I only played it when it was I think it was an iPad port at some point way back when. But that was another good one, and it managed, because it's got such simple controls, which is a thing that's always tricky to get right on the touchscreens. That worked because you are just literally a rectangle or rhombus or whatever, and a left and a right and a jump is all you're really dealing with. And a lot of the best mobile platformers tend to just strip it down to that. Anything more and it starts to get a bit of a muddle on the screen, and it can go wrong. They can do it right, but equally it can kind of be a shambles sometimes. But this looks promising. The first game is actually already out, if you're interested. So even though it says The Lost Twins, they are saying it does mean The Lost Twins 2. This is a sequel. And the original game is currently available on mobile devices if you wanted to give it a peek. This looks significantly different in terms of art style. The first one seems more pixel arty. And this, as you can see, has got a bit of more of an anime cartoony influence. So they've stepped it up a little bit. But check out the first game if you're interested. Go over and you can find out where to sign up on pocketgamer.com, which, incidentally, you should totally visit, because everything we talk about today is going to be accompanied by an article over on the site. Most of them are already live, and that goes for the yesterday's stream as well. So if there's anything that you missed yesterday and you were like, what was that game and where can I find it and all the rest of it, it's all over there on pg.com. Plus, you should visit PG Biz as well, pocketgamer.biz, which is, and you'll be greeted at the door by Danielle. She will usher you in. Do you want a biscuit? And you can read about all the behind-the-scenes goings on, because that's how. What's the slug line for PG Biz? Rather than
it's the business of mobile games, isn't it? So we talk to the developers, the teams behind the games, like you said, the behind the scenes of how they're coming together and how they're marketed, rather than what they play like. But we, we're not big business heads. We do enjoy playing games as well. Yes,
that's what we're here to prove that, because sometimes people you're just talking about numbers. It's like, yeah, but the numbers mean the games get made, and the games are good. We like them.
Exactly.
So
it's a cycle.
It is, exactly. It's a good cycle. So Lost Twins 2, go and check out the beta if you're interested, or certainly sign up for it if you want to. And if you want to find out anything more, go over to .com and check out the story. Now, let's talk about... I've played this game from years ago, and it's back, but better. Dungeon of the Endless. Dungeon of the Endless there. This is specifically the Apogee Edition. Now, this game has been around for ages. When I saw it pop up again, I was like, I'm sure I played this, because I saw it as like a new release or something, and I was like, I'm sure I've played this, and I'm sure I've played this on mobile. And I went back through the Pocket Gamer annals, and yeah, sure enough, like maybe 2015, 2016, the original version came out on iPad, and it was critically really well received. It's been on like Steam and that lot since 2014, I think. So it's a well-established game and very well reviewed and beloved. But it came into iPad, never made its way onto mobile, and then it vanished from the App Store and has been gone for quite some time. And now it's back, and it's back with the full package. So this one's going to be coming to iOS and Android March 16th. It's going to be bundled with all 5 bits of DLC, which you could get for the original game. So that's Deep Freeze, Death Gamble, Rescue Team, Organic Matters, and Bookworm. Now, we're into roguelikes here, and that's another one that I think, A, has become quite popular, especially with indie devs, and B, splits people between, hey, it's really replayable and I can keep coming back to it again and again, and could you just design a level, please? Do you have a take on this? Do you have an opinion?
It's a genre that's grown on me in the last few years, and I think it was a lot of indie titles that got me reeled in, and especially this year with Hades, which has kind of, I think, broken down the barriers of people that are in this divide. And I'm seeing a lot of people that don't traditionally like these styles of games coming in through Hades, and I think I'm one of them. But I do remember Dungeon of the Endless coming out, and it seemed odd that it didn't make its way to mobile, because it felt like a natural fit after the iPad.
Yeah.
So it's good to see it, and I think this is a great bundle.
It does look promising. The Hades technique, which is like, maybe you're not into roguelike, but we'll get you in with thirst. That's how we break down the barriers. Really hot anime characters. That's the move. Well, this one, I did play it sort of way back on the iPad edition. We haven't got our hands on it yet, so I don't know how the iPhone version plays, but it worked on iPad, which is a really promising sign. I don't see any reason why they couldn't make this work here too, because as you saw from the footage there, top-down business, you're trundling around dungeons. The idea is a lot of the map is covered in the fog of war, so you're always kind of wandering around and opening up new areas and just hoping you don't get ganked by aliens. But there is this other aspect to it where it's not just exploration and wandering around, it is also keeping an eye on your ship, which has crashed because the creatures come for the ship. So there's like a little bit of defensive stuff going on in there, as well as just keeping yourself alive and exploring, which is kind of fun. And I said to Charlie that I'm already in the bag for sci-fi stuff as a rule, because if it's got a laser in it, it's like, all right then, you got me. I'll play your game. Fine. And this has plenty of them, so it kind of worked out. Now it's going to be a premium game. So this is it was $4. It will be $4.99 or £4.99 when it goes live. That's then going to go up to $7.99, £7.99 afterwards, because they always tend to do that. It's about 2 weeks, isn't it? Devs tend to like have a little sale launch window for early adopters. So if you know you already want to get it, then you can dive straight in and grab it. If not, then don't worry, and you're not really interested in this game anyway. But I've played a bunch of the roguelikes that really worked for me. I think the one that got me in was... Actually, there were two. I really liked... I forget what it's called. Nuclear Throne? That's it, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I was a latecomer to that one as well. After I jumped in after everybody had gotten over it and went, God, this Nuclear Throne game is great. And everyone's like, yeah, classic. Retro. It's retro now.
Yeah, I guess I suppose it is.
It's not.
And there was another one which some kind of tile-based explorer. It'll come to me, but it was like a tile-based roguelike where you're constantly going up the layers of the dungeon. One of those, which is another common thing you get in a lot of roguelikes. And I think people, when they get judgmental about roguelikes, it's much more kind of like, well, I understand why they're there, and it's not just from a design aesthetic perspective where it's like, wait, we like the idea that it's randomized and everything. It also comes from the idea that maybe you've only got a couple of people in the team making the game, and handcrafting 150 levels takes a lot of time and a lot of money and all of that business. So it's a way where sort of smaller developers can create a game with a huge lifespan without necessarily breaking the bank or having to spend 5 years developing it or something like that. So it's got its reasons beyond just like, oh, we want it to be replayable again and again. But I see the appeal of the aesthetic because do you replay games a lot? Because I've come against a lot of people again, and I'm not a person who replays things over and over. It's only a rare game. The Mass Effect games I've played through a bunch of times. But normally I don't. What about you?
There's some quite old shorter games that I play through quite a lot. I go back to things like San Andreas quite a lot.
Okay.
You know, because it's quite quick to get through, and there's games like that, like old PS1 games, PS2 games. I play through Spyro the Dragon quite a lot, but there are games that I do go back to because I know what I'm getting, I know how long they are, and I just sort of go, just fancy that. Crazy Taxi is another one that I replay over and over again.
Comfort games almost, I guess.
Yeah, there's a few games. They're not really sort of roguelikes, but there's stuff where I know what I'm getting and I know what to expect.
I struggle with some to kind of keep coming back and have it be rewarding. But I know certainly roguelikes are one of the ways to get around that, where I like these mechanics, but I don't necessarily know what I'm going to get in terms of structure and when things are going to pop out at me, and that can keep things fresh. So we don't really need to sell the game to anybody because it's been out for ages and people already like it. We're just here to let people know. So March the 16th, a $5 on release if you're interested. We'll cover it when it comes out. We'll show you more footage from the game when it appears, and in fact we'll be able to hopefully embed a good 6 or 7 minutes of the mobile gameplay that you just saw over on the site as well. So if you want to see more of it, check over at Pocket Gamer and we will keep you informed. Okay. Let's move on to something else. Oh, right, okay. Here's something I've played, and I'm going to show me playing it badly. The Fifth Arc. Right, I'm going to drop this and I'm going to fire this straight up. People in the chat can shout if it's too loud or too quiet or whatever it might be, but this is the Fifth Arc. I was playing this earlier on today. It is currently, well, not available right now, and the build that we've got is an Android build. So that's why I've kind of pre-recorded the footage. Android doesn't really like being streamed live. We tried to get things onto iOS because it lets you plug it in, you see. So I get to watch myself fail, which is a nice out-of-body experience. Usually I do the failing in, one-to-one, and I don't have to see it. So this is almost, I guess it's got the flavor of like a twin-stick shooter, okay? So what you can see is me running around blasting the crap out of zombies, which is, I guess, par for the course. It's video games 101. Where do you stand on the zombie craze? Are you sick of zombies? Were you sick of zombies 5 years ago?
Yeah, zombie games were never my jam. Okay. I played Left 4 Dead, I think, but that was because the game was great, not because of the zombies, and I completely kind of missed the boat on it. I've never really liked zombie games, so maybe this will be lost on me, but we can try.
The OG Left 4 Dead, that really is like a proper old school. However, the zombie stuff I can be cynical about, but then I get things that make it work, like when you go and like The Last of Us, not that they're my favourite games in the world or anything, but they are very well done, and really it's just a jumping off point for something. It's an easy way to get cannon fodder. So it's more a case of like what you do with it rather than just the genre as a whole. So yeah. In this instance, what we're dealing with here is it feels like a twin stick shooter. So I'm moving characters around with the left hand side, and on the right hand side you can see I've got my little cluster of buttons to press. You've got your main big gun thing that I'm firing away at the minute, and a few powers that have cooldowns around it. So in the case of this one, this dude has a grenade, which I will occasionally lob out, just like that. And then he also has a little fleet foot thing where I can tap that and he'll suddenly go zooming around the place at high speed. The other stuff that they get in this game, each of the fighters has like a little kind of thing that they can drop, some buff that's unique to their character. In this case, this dude has turrets, so he can dump a turret, smash bang in the middle of the play area there and start blowing the crap out of everything which is extremely handy and basically essential later on because there are too many zombies. There are always too many zombies. This is the guy, in fact. This is Carter. He's the guy we've been recruiting, and I do later on in the game recruit another player as well, who looks like half. You remember? Oh, actually, you probably will remember. I forget which of the Bayformers movie it is, but the one where one of the Transformers is literally standing on like a giant tractor tire. I think it might be the beginning of Revenge of the Fallen. I don't know, but do you remember the one I'm talking about? Massive wheels, basically.
Absolutely not, because the Bayformers just gone.
Wow. Okay, so you asked. I should for the audience. Danielle enjoys the work of the Transformers, but I didn't know if you were. So Bayformers is a no-go area. You're strictly like G1 then, are you?
It's generally sort of a bad area. I didn't like the movies, and that they're generally not well received in the old Transformers community, just because
they're awful.
Yes, they are. They are quite bad. So yeah, I don't even know if I've seen all of them. So it's just the references are just lost on me.
That's good, and you are the lucky one. They are terrible, terrible films. But the point still stands. Where I pick up a guy in a bit who has this like a massive tire, and I initially thought that like he was running around like actually balanced on top of it, but no, he has it and he uses it as kind of a spinning shield thing, like a gigantic tractor tire. As you saw just there. As well as being able to blast the crap out of everybody on the screen and also place turrets, you can hop into vehicles from time to time. So I jumped in a little buggy there and then proceeded to drive straight through a wall of zombies, which is also satisfying in its own special way. This is the overworld. So you go up and you're working your way through a series of levels that are shown in a kind of locked off campaign maps. So there's like a chapter, you get dumped into this city, and then you kind of work your way through 5 or 10 different locations, after which you switch over and you move on to a different bit of town. It's going for this sort of, I guess, the Mad Max post-apocalyptic thing with, I guess, what looks like the kind of cartoony style of, I mean, I guess you'd say like Overwatch or I guess Borderlands or something, that kind of thing, right? It's that flavour.
Yeah, it's a good art style. I quite like it.
And again, choosing to go with an actual art style rather than trying to be photorealistic is a good way of not completely dating your game. And this is the same as true of movies. Good art is not necessarily about making all the hair follicles move exactly right and being able to see every pore. I've been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves recently, right? This has been my gateway into multiplayer gaming. And I was mentioning to Charlie yesterday, but that game has got a style, right? It's chosen a style. It's not in any way photorealistic. It's a cartoony thing. And part of the benefit of that, I think, is once you get it looking good or you choose the style that you like, it doesn't look like a game that's from 2021 or 2018 or 2010 even. It's kind of timeless.
I'd agree.
And I think that helps a lot. Whereas when games or movies, particularly when movies go for like photorealism, when you look back on them in 10 years, inevitably they kind of look trash. And you go, oh, that doesn't hold up quite so well now, does it? Whereas some of the puppets, if you actually go back to a Dark Crystal or something, like, yes, they're puppets, but they still look as cool as they ever did, because, it's light bouncing off an object and it's real. So, I think choosing specific art styles or going with an aesthetic like this one is probably a sensible thing to do. And again, there's that small screen element. You want things bright and colourful and recognisable. Clear silhouettes is what I'm looking for. So I've just gone through another wave of zombie dudes there. I found something that looked a bit flamethrower-ish. I think I may have picked up a weapon. I can't remember. I won. That's the important thing. I should say that this is going to be coming to iOS and Android this summer. I think originally they were supposed to be bringing it out like quite soon, next month. But there's been a few tweaks and adjustments, and it's going to be coming a little bit later. But we'll keep you updated as things change. But the idea here is that you play, because I've got the blurb as well, play as a commander in charge of an elite hero group, collectively known as the Ark, trying to claim the last remaining cities and hunting for clues to explain how the calamity occurred in the first place. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen much in the way of clues. I have seen lots of zombies. I think that's the main focus. The plot is going to be window dressing, I imagine. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's really good. I don't know. But at the moment...
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah.
I was focusing on this, on shooting all the dead things that are animate. So this little buff I've used for this character here, rather than dropping a turret, you see those waving things? They act as decoys. So you plant a decoy there, and then all the zombies will kind of swarm towards the decoy, which means you can stand back and do what I'm doing now. Shoot, lob bombs. Also, we've got some new dudes turning up. So these guys are the enemies spitting the green blurb. They are big. I don't know. They remind me of some of those exploding nasties that you get. Well, you just exploded there. That you get in things like The Last of Us. The really nasty, shambly buggers. So the enemies do start to scale accordingly. And later on in the game, they do that thing where I try and attempt to level, and they go, "You're not really leveled up for this. Are you sure?" And I went, "Of course I'm sure. You can't stop me. I do what I like." And then you get to see me get owned for about 5 minutes. So that's where hubris gets you, boys and girls. But it's fine. I don't mind. I'm here to show everybody what you shouldn't do. That's my role. So again, let's go back to the plot. You're supposed to also recruit heroes from a range of elite government agents. Also, you grabbing what they call battle-hardened veterans as well, and the idea is you craft new gear, adjust weapons for additional firepower, you can increase your players' defenses, and you can also introduce support characters, for something I do later on. So right here, I am just playing with the standard set. I'm blowing the crap out of everybody here. I haven't got anything else to drop, so I'm just stuck in the room. They've shrunk the room a little bit, and now I'm just lobbing grenades and praying for my life. You you don't have to do the twin stick shooter thing of pressing the gun down and then dragging your thumb. If you hold the attack button, it kind of does that shoot the nearest enemy type dealio. Which again, I know some people like to have like full control over these things, and I know certainly that another thing that caused a bit of outrage in the first person shooter community was that auto fire when the reticle goes over an enemy. They started to introduce that into mobile games, and I think it's a good thing. A lot of people think it's a bad thing. And I get why, from a purist point of view, but also, when you're playing a mobile game, you've only got 2 thumbs.
Exactly. You need all the help you can get there, really.
You do. And, like, I would rather be playing... So we've already got someone in the chat saying not a fan of the auto fire. And, like, I get it. In a perfect world, I would rather have a trigger there as well to do the firing. I like to fire my own pretend guns if I can. But when it comes to mobile stuff, what that means is you have to lift up your thumb and press another button here, when potentially that thumb also wants to be doing 2 other things. And these fingers would probably be doing something else as well. And you don't have that option on a touchscreen. There's just too much stuff to do. So you have to think about streamlining. And I think that moving a reticle over and it starts auto-firing is a really good kind of accommodation to the touchscreen. And it also changes the way you aim. Because traditionally you can just, move the reticle around and then, line it up, get the headshot, bam. Whereas when you're playing it, when it's an auto-fire, you tend to drag it and aim before you move it over, so that you get the headshot clean. So it actually changes the way you play, and not necessarily in a good way or a bad way. You just saw there, by the way, on the stream, turret section. Got to have a turret section. I jumped in and blasted some folks to bits. Do you enjoy the obligatory turret section they have to have in shooters?
I do. The bigger the gun, the better, isn't it? Zombie horde, you've got to have a big gun, because it's always better to have too many zombies than too little zombies, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because otherwise what am I going to use all this ammo for?
Exactly. What am I going to use this big gun for?
I always think of they make me think of the turret sections in Gears of War. That's always the bits I think of. That's one of those games where they got the idea of the waves, bringing in the endless waves.
Yeah.
Hey, look, here, this guy right here. Look, he's balancing on a tire, a single tire, as if he's some kind of mad, fleshy transformer who doesn't transform into anything. Maybe it's a reach. But this is the first character I've been able to unlock, and as well as being able to play as this guy instead of the other dude, I can also bring him in as a support character. So think of him as a summon in Bloodborne, where they'll come in and the AI will take control of it, and they'll run around for a bit. They'll inevitably get murked within the first minute or so. But they do draw fire and, provide a distraction in the meantime, which is kind of good. So I'm already, have I worked my way through? A good few number of the stages now. And naturally, it's got a bit of numbers going on in it. So I'm gaining power-up bits that I can then use to boost stats for my individual players and all the things that you would expect. It doesn't have too many. I'm only seeing 3 currency things in the top right, which is quite good for a free-to-play game as far as they go. I start to see red when there's when you get to that 7 or 8 currency stage, 3 different coloured crystals, gold, silver, and that's when my eyes start to glaze over, and it's too much. Here you go. So I've looked at the other guy. There he is, and I went, I'll select him. I'll choose him as my primary character, and I'll put the other guy in support because I want to see what single tire man is like in battle. And this is the game going, are you sure you want to do that? And I went, yeah. Brilliant. So this is going to be a fail. A nice solid 5 minutes of me running around trying not to die. Enjoy. But what it does give me the opportunity to do is show you the different kind of enemy. So this is already, you can see 1 billion more zombies than usual. This guy's got what looks like a sawn-off shotgun. And his powers are, he can use that tire as a shield, like he's doing now. You can also use he does a charge with that spinning tire, like that in fact, just did it. And I'm already dead. So I've revived, and I'm going to carry on because I will not be beaten. At least not 50 seconds in. And he has one of those jump up in the air and smash down type attacks, which I'm a big fan of, which is just an extension of the Mario butt stomp type thing, isn't it?
Yeah. This guy's just sort of a greasier Captain America, isn't he? His tire shield and his big beard.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it, but yes.
I see a round shield, and that's where my brain goes.
Cap with a massive beer gut on roids. Yeah, this is him, he's 70, he's let himself go. He's gotten very angry and quite reactionary by the look of that shotgun. I feel like this is how he treats everybody now. But you do have, I really thought that shotgun would do more damage than it does. And as you can see, they're not stopping. They just keep coming. Despite that attack, which I really feel should have done more damage than it did, and instead I just died. So I had to realise that using that attack is dangerous, because if I charge straight into the middle of them, when the attack stops, I'm in the middle of a horde of zombies.
Yep, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate the delicate geography of the situation. So I decided to stop using that and try and keep on the outskirts of them, but they just take so much, they're all like sponges. And really, my weapon isn't powerful enough for this. So I switch it up. And I move over and use the original guy, and then get him in as this tire dude in as support, which is the thing that you probably should have done in the first place. But this is going to be a free-to-play game that's going to be out in the summer. It's going to be both iOS and Android. I'm playing the Android version at the moment because that's the only one that they've released. I don't know what the situation is regarding soft launches. But if you do want to follow games that are out on soft launch, actually, do you guys still do that over on PG Biz? I know there was a thing we used to track them.
We do, yeah. We update it every Monday, games that are coming into soft launch. So once it is in there, we'll be the first to know about it. And yeah, you can point people over to the PG Biz soft launch section, where that's where they all go.
Nice one. Yeah. So those. I mean, if you know mobile games, you'll be familiar with soft launches and that. And I suppose it's green light on Steam or early access or whatever you want to call it. But developers will put the game out there in a bunch of territories and just to test it out. And it's a lot of people's first encounter with the games before it properly goes live. Like an example of this is Wild Rift, the League of Legends game, which is currently available in a lot of territories. And it was out in countries in the East for a bunch of months. It's come over to Europe. It's still not in America, I don't think, or it may be just about to appear there. So it's kind of, it's some places but not others. But it's been out in the wild for so long at this point. It kind of feels like it's launched, but it hasn't. And some games do be like that, where it's kind of like, I thought this was out already. I thought this had been out. And then suddenly, you get a year and a half into playing it, they go, we've just released 1.0. You're like, what? This game wasn't finished. What have I been doing this whole time? God. But that's another example of a game which has taken into account the unique state of mobile and kind of tweaked tweaked the core game accordingly, I think. Where, I mean, from a perspective point of view, and even from the controls, actually, it has a lot in common with this, where it is moving around with the left stick. The big attack button with the 3 smaller attack buttons on a cooldown around it, like all that stuff. That's the League of Legends. Obviously, this is much more of a fending people off wave-based thing, and you're 3-laning it in League of Legends. But they have tweaked things to work on mobile in a similar fashion, and I played a bunch of that late last year, and it really works much better than I expected. Did you do LOL back in the, what was it, 2009? LOL came out?
No, I didn't. I kind of missed it. It wasn't really my thing. I got a little bit into the MOBA scene with Heroes of the Storm.
Oh yeah, wasn't
was
that
kind
Blizzard's one?
It was, yeah. I had a little bit of time in there, but I did miss the boat on LOL, sadly.
Well, I didn't. I only played it a little bit initially on PC because I was never a big PC gamer. But I re-downloaded it to compare, just to fire them up and see, like, okay, how different is this? And the answer is not that different. Like, they managed to keep a lot of it intact, which was kind of impressive. But that's always the danger of porting things from one platform to another. You've got to take it into account. Whereas this clearly has been designed from the ground up for mobile, so it just kind of works off of the bat. This is a much bigger map than I thought. So now I've decided that shooting these zombies is boring, and I'm going to go and do some sightseeing. But they keep chasing me, and I accidentally activate another group of zombies. So I just shoot myself in the foot again.
How are you supposed to find the clues? You've gone off to look around to figure out the plot, but the zombies just keep coming.
Yeah, I go in search of a clue, and I find no clue. just more failure. However, the actual gunishment side of it does wind up being satisfying. And again, like, doing big, bold, cartoony stylings works for this, because certainly there was a trend, and I'm going to say the early 2010s I don't know what you call that decade, but where everything went grey and a bit brown,
Did.
Gears of War was one of them, and everything kind of went, no, we must be murky and brown and serious. And it's like, cool. I mean, I didn't, not that I disliked that game, but it all becomes a bit murky, and like, there's no harm, nothing's wrong with colours. Colours are good.
Yeah.
Colours help you see things. And, I like my explosions explosive, and it really lights the screen up, and, it's a simple thing, but like so many games I think opt for this sort of real, serious aesthetic, and what you end up with is like indiscriminate grey smudge on your screen. And when your screen is only this big, it's like, don't do this to me, guys.
Yeah.
I want a bright green dot and a bright red one. And that way I know everything is, and Nintendo understand this. From years of working with small screens, and what they did, the only company that's managed to make mobile games work prior to the whole touchscreen gaming thing was Nintendo. They're the ones who managed to do like a Game Boy, and no one else managed to make a portable gaming console successful apart from them. They didn't even have any colours, they just had green and black at the beginning. But so this one, as you can see, I've tried shooting, I've tried fleeing, I'm now trying a combination of the two. Either way, I'm still going to get ganked. Here they come, they're all ganging up on me. This is kind of the big end of that section, and I can't remember if I actually managed to get through it or not. I just keep lobbing grenades till I die, probably. Yeah. I'm just checking. Oh, someone's in the chat there. The PSP crowd are now angry. The Game Gear gang getting arsy with me. The Game Gear was cool, by which I mean it worked. It ate batteries like nobody's business. And it had a screen that you could definitely see if you closed all of the curtains and it was nighttime. But out in the real world, it was, yeah. No. Do you remember what was the one that came around the same time? Oh, it's finished now. Good, I died. The Lynx. The Atari Lynx. Did you ever see that?
I did, yeah. I didn't have one.
No, neither I.
Did anybody have one? But no, I do remember that era of squinting at your handheld console.
Yeah, people will it might be telling our age. I never had one, and I've encountered them through, I had older brothers as well, so saw some older stuff. ZX Spectrum, anyone? Through them. But like the Atari Lynx was this huge, this brick of a thing, like 2 PS Vitas, 3 maybe. And then the screen was like this, and it took about 50 batteries, and it weighed a ton, and you turned it on, and it lasted for about 16 minutes, and then it died. And I remember seeing a surfing game on it, and that was about it. But that was the kind of the early days, the early doors of that kind of gaming, and it was I guess it got us where we are. So fair play, but also no, it was terrible. Don't do that. Never do that. The Switch has worked out well though, and in fact, that's something that just broke a second or two ago, wasn't it? Earlier in the day, open world Pokemon. Anyone?
Yeah, that did happen. I'm quite up for that because there's huge gaps in my Pokemon knowledge, but I did like the later Pokemons. I liked the Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu.
Oh yeah.
They were really good remakes. And I love Breath of the Wild, so it's a good mash of things, isn't it?
It does look like it's cribbing from that a little bit, doesn't it? Like you get definitely with the open world thing, with the art style as well. I know people are already bagging on the art style and saying it doesn't look very good, but like Pokemon games aren't about, again, they're not about ultra realistic graphics or anything.
No, and I'm kind of glad, because have you seen some of the Pokemon?
Oh yes, true. Actually, yeah. In fact, that Pokemon movie that came out, which actually was one of the, I mean, it's not for me, put it that way, but it's definitely one of the less bad video game movie adaptations out there. But some of the Pokemon there, when they go hyper real, the moment you start giving them fur, it's like, ooh, I'm getting slightly weird, uncanny valley cringe off of it.
Yeah, it seems nice when you think about Pikachu and you think of some of the older Pokemon, but then when you start to get sort of into Gen 4 and 5 and there's sort of like scaly Doritos and then like mobs of actual trash, I'm wondering how they can be realistic. And then I start spiraling down a thought process I don't want to be down, and then just come back to the cartoons.
God, no one wants to be there. A lot of people got some love for Detective Pikachu in the audience, but also people saying that they like the original Pokemon games, the classic kind of, you know, pixel art, top-down type affairs, which are also great. But the good thing about those is they're not going anywhere.
Indeed.
They're still around, and that's what's kind of nice about them. You can fire them up anytime. So, if you guys fancy taking a look at what I was just playing badly there, the 5th arc will be coming sometime this summer. Keep your eyes out for a soft launch if it does appear. If not, we will let you know when it officially goes live. Now, let's take a look at something new. It's called Queen Rules. Let's have a peek. Did I say Queen Rules? I meant quest-like. Of course I did. In fact, you might have seen that if you watched the stream yesterday, but just in case you didn't, quest-like. Upcoming Android release that was launched on Steam back in March 2018, a dungeon crawling RPG. Took it on a series of challenges to see how long you can survive. This is of the endless challenge nature. The spin here is that the combat was rhythm-based. And it meant you had to time your attacks to bring down beasties as they came in and at you. This one is currently available in open beta, like we were saying earlier about the soft launches, but this is through a specific place. It's called Test Fairy. And if you go through there, you can find the patch notes and get access to the game and all of that. It's also available for pre-register over on Google Play if you want to take a look at it. But we kind of covered it in its main form yesterday, and we've decided to mention it once again today. However, if I put that to bed for a moment, Queen's Rules, this one over here, I did initially mean to talk about. So this has been described. You know how people do that, it's X on a type of drug? You know, it's so-and-so on acid.
Yeah.
This one has been described by one user as Sudoku on shrooms.
Oh, okay.
Which is...
sold?
Yes. Also very specific. Suspiciously specific. To me. So it has you strategically, I should say, moving through battlefield situations and trap-laden labyrinths, rescuing soldiers surrounded by enemies before combining forces to defeat the big boss. So the thing that makes this game interesting, and there is actually a video of this one over on the Pocket Gamer channel, if you want to go and check out pg.com, is that they created the aesthetic physically. So they made the models of these characters, you can see the faces over there, with a polymer clay in a real oven. So they did that, and then they scanned it into the game. So it's based on real stuff. And I guess we've seen a few games use that kind of aesthetic. I mean, Little Big Planet has that feel, doesn't it? Those kind of crafty games where he looks like a little real stuffed toy.
Yeah.
Running around doing his Sackboy thing. And these guys have gone for that aesthetic. They're going to make a real thing, they're going to scan them in, and then we're going to put them in there as well. So the idea is that you are going to be moving numbers around, trying to make patterns and whatnot, but they have this thing of an actual overworld boss and enemies you have to defeat while you're doing it. Now, it's not available yet. The idea is it's going to be out on iOS on March the 4th. So I make that next week, if my maths are correct. Yeah, should be. And obviously, as you play through, they've got it down saying new mechanics have emerged as you advance. You have to change strategy patterns, adapting play to new situations. There is some quite nice twinkly music in the background. I watched the video; it was quite good, and it's well worth going and looking at if you have the chance to do so. But we wanted to throw it up because this is another one of those small teams, small developments, cool art style, something a little bit different, and also well focused to mobile. Because for a lot of people, and I speak to my mum in this instance, mobile games are a way for them to sit down and play things like Sudoku or Words with Friends, or those kind of, I guess, what would be considered more traditional analog games, just in a digital form. Have you got family members, either old or young, who are sending each other Words with Friends challenges or any of that kind of gaming?
Yeah, it's something that mum does as well. She's big into Words with Friends and those kind of mobile based puzzle games that are just based on like you said, analog games as well. And but then again, my mum was a really early adopter of Farmville, so she was on it. She was on the mobile thing and the Facebook thing before I was, actually, incidentally. So it is a nice way to kind of recreate some of these sort of styleless games and give a new flair to them, isn't it?
And especially when it comes to the multiplayer stuff, that ability to get multiplayer games going with numerous people on not just different places, different buildings, different continents. That's the thing that's really been useful, especially for the past year or so, I would say. Hope everybody's all right still out there, because we're still in Plague World. It continues. So we'll be keeping our eyes on this one, and you should too. Queen Rules is the name of the game. Go and check out the actual story over there on pocketgamer.com, and we will follow up next week when it goes live, March 4th on iOS. Keep your eyes peeled. Now, we're going to have a brief interlude where we talk to you about shooters. So, lots of shooters on mobile. Far too many to choose from. So, yesterday we covered our top 10 favorite races that are on the mobile platform. And here we're going to talk to you about the best shooters that are currently available on mobile that are not one of the two most popular shooter franchises around. So, we'll see you in 5. Look, everyone's already playing Fortnite and PUBG, okay? They've been around for years, they're on every console and platform, and they're both great. But we all need a bit of variety in our lives, and you can't survive on chicken dinner alone. So instead, I want to take a look at the 5 best shooters available exclusively on mobile that aren't PUBG or Fortnite. So put the chicken down, tell Travis Scott and Thanos that you'll DM them later, and let's take a look at your options. 1 year and millions of downloads later, and Call of Duty Mobile shows no signs of slowing down. A much younger game than the PUBG and Fortnite mobile ports, COD Mobile has a vibrant multiplayer community, zombies, a battle royale mode, and constantly changing seasonal content. Fresh gear and new modes such as the recent addition of nighttime maps sit alongside classic stages from the likes of Modern Warfare. Better than all of that though, after what feels like years of trying, this is the first mobile iteration that begins to capture that Call of Duty feel. Easily the best mobile version of the franchise to date. Combining aspects from Overwatch, Guns of Boom, and even Clash Royale, Frag Pro Shooter was the sleeper hit of 2019, and continues to bother the charts to this day. You take control of a team of 5 gunslingers whom you unlock, collect, and assemble, and then play in 1v1 online PvP. You only control one member of your team at a time, but can jump between individual members, shooting targets which give you points and control of the battlefield. Naturally, you also spend a lot of time blasting your enemies to bits. Made for mobile and mobile only, games are short and fast. Controls are super streamlined and well suited to touchscreen, and the heroes are well defined and full of character. With a new co-op mode, 80 heroes, and 50 million players globally, there is no better time to give this one a go. We were big fans of Tactical when it hit early last year, offering a break from the standard first or third person blasters with a more isometric top-down perspective on gunplay. You team up with other players to compete in 5v5 matches, perforating your foes in a cloud of bullets and then crushing them beneath trucks. It's a game of points, and squad cohesion and teamwork is key, especially as friendly fire is very much a thing here. It's almost got a twin-stick shooter vibe, which we really liked, and the explosive scenery is a nice touch as well. You may hit a bit of a paywall after a significant time with the game, but you'll get a lot of mileage out of it before then, and it offers a different flavour from other App Store shooters that just works. Shadowgun Wargames is developer Madfinger's most recent entry in the mobile shooter space. But while that game is riffing on the hero shooter, it's the Dead Trigger 2 devs' previous sci-fi blaster, Shadowgun Legends, that hit the sweet spot for us. Cribbing from Destiny, this lavish looter shooter is about as slick as mobile shooters get, with pristine neon visuals, satisfying gunplay, and a single-player campaign that isn't actually half bad. As with most of these types of games, things can eventually get grindy and repetitive. But after 10 years of making first-person mobile shooters, these folks know what they're doing when it comes to touchscreen gunishment, and Shadowgun Legends is a prime example. Perhaps you're sick of 5 versus 5 hero battling. If that's the case, can I interest you in 6v6 Mech Wars? Technically a graphical overhaul of the popular war robots, this remastered edition has proved crazy popular. Mech fans can collect and control the 50 chassis on offer, shooter fans can get stuck into the customizable weapon loadout, and the antisocial can ditch the team battles altogether for free-for-alls and solo arena modes. Recent updates include cute drones which can attack or defend, a Serious Sam crossover event, and the new Typhon robot. The community is active, there is regular new content, and there's even a YouTube story series with 15-minute long episodes of robots having existential crises. The game is also really fun, obviously. Hats off to Pixonic, this is how you support a game. See something you like? Did we miss your all-time favourite? Chuck a comment below and we'll get into it in the chat. We'd love to do more recommendation videos like this, so if this was your kind of thing, let us know, hit subscribe, smash the notifications button, and we'll see you next time. And once again, our Twitter handle and Facebook page there, because you've got to get at least one mention of it per stream. So, shooty business all the way through. Do you do the shooting? Are you well, for a start, the COD was one of the big ones that came onto mobile last year and did really well, as we saw there. They're, like, potentially easily the best version of it yet. They hadn't quite gotten it right up until that point on mobile, I didn't feel. But the other thing that came while that was going on was the whole Fortnite debacle. Was it, it was on mobile and it was really popular on mobile, and then it wasn't anymore, and drama happened. That was one where we were both covering, like, consumer and the biz side. That was very much a biz story of Epic being naughty. Well, I don't know. What did you feel about all that?
It's just, I think where they're coming from is a genuine place, because I think there does need to be, more transparency and inequality and in how developers are being paid and receiving the payment for their own games. But I think Epic kind of, maybe they're not the company to kind of preach that, especially when they do have their own store where they sell exclusive games. It just didn't really hit right. I think a good message, but maybe terrible execution.
Yeah, wrong spokesperson. You can't play the plucky underdog when you're a multi-billion dollar company. We're on side of a little guy, and they fly off in their space Tesla. Yeah, it's not. I'm not sure about that, but it did kind of open up a gap. It meant that there were fewer of these kind of games, and certainly the most popular one suddenly got pulled. So plenty of space for people to swoop in, and obviously PUBG still exists there. And I think they just announced a new one, PUBG. So what's it called? New State. I did just look it up here. They've gone all futuristic with it. It was literally announced like less than 24 hours ago. Yeah, PUBG New State, and it looks like a kind of futuristic, almost like quasi-sequel. Are they sequelizing it? That's bold. PUBG is one of those games where I feel like it's just going to stay PUBG. It's just going to go and go and go. Whereas Destiny did decide to sequelize itself. And I always feel like you risk splintering the player base and confusing everybody when you do that.
Yeah, it's going either way, isn't it? I mean, Overwatch 2 is trying to do that at the minute.
Yeah.
And they're struggling, I think. They're going to struggle to move the players over because there's no real incentive to move from 1 to 2. So
I think people feel attached to their characters and their builds and all the rest of it, and they know who they main and they know how the levels work and everything, and the idea of jumping over is like starting all over again. And to some people, that's what they've been waiting for, and others just like, no, I've got my happy place. Don't ruin my happy place. Smashing it all up. So if you liked any of those shooters, you can find that video on Pocket Gamer's YouTube channel. That is an example of what we do over there normally when we're not streaming. The streaming is a rare thing. We do it from time to time. But you can go over and find it there amongst a bunch of other recommendations as well. So if you like that kind of thing, maybe subscribe if you're watching. Go over there and get involved. And we will be able to bring you more recommendations in the not too distant future. Now, let's cover something else new. We've got some update business going on over here. Let's head over to the Black Desert.
A true MMORPG at your fingertips. Black Desert Mobile. Available now.
They're leading into the cuteness with that one, aren't they? They've got the little giggly thing doing the giggle. There she is, look. There. That's Shay, or Shy. I don't know how to pronounce. Shai. And this is the upcoming support class that's going to be joining the cast of Black Desert Online. We've talked about the game in previous LaunchPads, I believe. It rings a bell. And Shay is a halfling with a penchant for exploring and has access to buffs and, importantly, healing spells, which is going to be all support classy. She's got a boomerang. That thing where it says Florang check, that's the boomerang. The boomerang has a name and a personality, and you will respect the boomerang, apparently. She also has an orb-shaped Vitclary as a sub-weapon. I do not know what a Vitclary is. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Sounds weapony.
Sure. Why not? A boomerang with a personality is not enough. We need to have a word that doesn't even exist. She's going to be using various skills and bits and bobs to heal other class members, lobbing a very personable boomerang in people's faces and supporting her allies accordingly. You can also, apparently she's quite good in PvP when you get to large groups, because that boomerang thing does lots of nice kind of passing its way through lots of people.
Nice.
Which is, I've never dared even try it in real life, because when I throw a stick, I want it to stay away. I don't want it to come back. Well, that's why I threw it. Come on, don't be stupid. Grow up. So, Black Desert Online is currently out and has been for a little while. It's already, got one of these games that's got millions of users and doesn't need us really talking about it. But if you like the look of the support class, you can go and pick it up. I don't know exactly when she's going live, or do I? Oh, in fact, you'll be able to create your Shy character ahead of the class's arrival on March 16th. That's when it's going to be going live. So a couple of weeks or so, it will make an appearance, and you can all go and get involved. There we are. Lovely. Now, I'm going to jump over to a game which I've included in this primarily because I thought the name was funny. And it's my stream and I'll do what I like. Here we go. Rally Alley Alley. And that's all you need. You just need a silly name, and I will talk about your game on a stream. It's more than that. It's actually interesting. So the reason we've taken a look at this one beyond the daft name is the fact that it has a very unusual mechanic at its core, one which we spotted as part of the Big Indie Pitch, which is something that we do during our Pocket Gamer Connects shows, and outside of them as well. They've become standalone events over the years, and we're still doing them digitally. Which is basically a show where we get people in, developers, usually from small companies, small devs, first-time devs, and they come and pitch us their game. And by us, I mean a panel of expert judges. So we're talking about people from within the industry, other developers, their peer group. We've got publishers, we've got journalists, anyone remotely connected with the games industry that has expertise in a sector. They go around, and it's kind of like speed dating. When it's physical, it's like loads of different tables. Remember tables? Remember people, Danielle?
Remember going out
into a room with other people? Yeah. So they'd all sit around, and basically you'd have judges at each table, and then they'd get 5 minutes to show them their game, pitch it, and then we squeak a loud horn or some other annoying, obnoxious sound, and then everyone would get up, switch tables, and carry on. And then at the end, a judgment would be made. And it was a great way of just like showing loads of people your game dead quick and getting your idea over quickly. And the idea of this one, the thing that made it interesting is it's a racing game, sure, but a multiplayer racing game in which one of the players is drawing the track as it happens, as you're going around. So everyone else is kind of chasing this lead racer, and they are, as you saw, they're like unfurling the track in front of them, like what are those sweets which are all sherbety with sugar? The laces, the big flat ones, big red ones.
Yeah, strawberry laces. I was thinking fruit winders.
Yeah, something like that.
Gummy
yeah,
things you unroll.
just like kind of twirling out in front. And
so
not only are the other racers there kind of competing to get in first, they're also trying to work out where the track is going to go. And that is at the behest of that one. And it makes it almost like one of those... Because asynchronous games have been quite popular now for a bit, where it's like, one character is the bad guy and everyone else is trying to hunt them or something like that. So Dead by Daylight or, that kind of thing. I guess this is the racing game equivalent, where one person is the god of the tarmac. Everyone else is chasing. But it's a little lo-fi thing, and it's clearly sort of small development team and cartoonish graphics and all that. But that idea is good. That's one of those things I was like, I've not seen that before. That's clever.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I said at the start, I love a card game when we started the stream, and I mentioned sort of like these smaller indie games, and this is perfect. This is the exact kind of card game that I like. It's it's lo-fi, it's made by an indie team, it's really cute, and it's got this weird mechanic that, like you said, we don't see that often. I've never seen it, honestly. It's got potential for such chaos. I love it.
and that's a rarity. The stuff that tends to do well in the pitches is, rather than turning up with your incredibly polished but familiar looking card game or something, the stuff that we've seen that does really well at our big indie pitches is a strange idea, and it might not even be in its most polished form or anything like that, but it's like, I don't think I've seen that before, and that is always the germ of something really interesting. And this caught my imagination, because I see myself wanting to play as the car drawing the track, and hearing my friend swear at me from behind. But I also see myself chasing the track, and like that could be really fun, literally not knowing where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Both sides of it seem entertaining. So I'm kind of there. They've got me. It is coming to both the iOS and the Google Play Store. The name isn't actually on that little image, but it's called Rally Alley Alley. You saw it in the trailer, but it's all one word. If you want to know how it's spelled, go over, check the story that's over there on pg.com. We don't know about release dates. We don't know about pricing. That's how early in development it is. But that's your first look at it, and I'm going to be keeping my eye on it because it looks like could be interesting, could be fun. Now, we're going to take a little break here, and we're going to let a game speak for itself. We talked about a game called Northgard on one of our earlier streams. We showed you some of the first images of it. And we got a little kind of teaser trailer of it. But now the developers have come back. They have been prepared to release some actual gameplay footage. And we've got that here for you now. So we're just going to play you a nice chunk of the game. It's no voiceover, no nothing. We're going to let it run. You guys can see how it works. It kind of speaks for itself. And then we'll be back with more chatter. So enjoy a bit of Northgard. The mobile reveal of Northgard there. So, this has already been out on consoles and other platforms for a while. It's done very well. It's got fantastic reviews. Everybody liked it. It's now being ported over onto mobile by PlayDigis, which is the same team that did that Dungeons of the Endless port that we saw earlier. Yeah, so a couple of games in there. And they look like they've done a pretty good job of it. So, despite what that trailer said, there's been a slight adjustment with the release date. I think that trailer said April sometime. It's now changed, and they are doing it for... hang on. I might be second-guessing myself here. A few dates have changed. I think April 13th is still good. So, if you are interested and excited, then believe the trailer and don't believe me. I think we're probably all right there. If you've never played it before, strategy game, Norse mythology, as you saw there, fighting other clans, big beasts, harsh environments. They've already sold 2 million on PC and consoles. You've also got the big updates. So Ragnarok, Relics, and Conquest are also DLCs that got added. All of those will be available in this mobile version as well. From the looks of the interface, they seem to have handled it okay. When it comes to strategy stuff, do your eyes glaze over, or are you game? Does this kind of thing appeal?
It does, yeah. And I think I've never played it before, but I think it looks perfect on mobile. It's the perfect kind of mobile game. We were just saying in the chat that it's the perfect kind of thing to play on the go, whenever that might be again. But it is it's something that I would be far more likely to pick up on mobile. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, and certainly the previous reviews, I'm not a PC gamer again, so it's not the thing I lent towards, but I would rather do this kind of game where it is like lots of little people moving around the screen, map-based. I'd rather do this kind of thing either with a mouse and keyboard if I'm going to do it. I want to be able to click and point, or mobile. I want to be able to point with my finger, much more than I would like just, dragging a cursor around like this with a thumbstick. It's never the same. It doesn't... I think my wake-up call to that was, do you remember... Well, I don't know if you were there at the time. Lemmings, right? When Lemmings originally came out on an Amiga in the 90s, it obviously mouse and keyboard based. They then did a port of Lemmings for the Mega Drive. And, that was a difficult game to play. Because the cursor was just a box that went... It was like an Etch-a-Sketch. It was horrible, and that was one of those things that makes you go, right, yeah, controls matter, don't they? Making the control for the right platform. So this looks very promising with what they've done with it. So April the 13th, we're going to stick with that release date. It's going to be releasing at $7.99 or £7.99 on iOS. It is also coming to Android, we can confirm, so you will not be left out, droiders, but a little bit later in the year for that. So we will confirm when that appears. So... we've got our Northgard stuff sorted, and we're going to once again throw out the PG Awards mention, because the Pocket Gamer Awards 2021 are still open for your vote. We have been through all the best games of the past year, and we've whittled them down to, I think, about 28 different categories. Each of those categories got like 5 or 10 games in them, and then it's up to you out there to go visit the page and vote for them. It's been open for a good couple of weeks so far. It is going to be closing next week. I think we've agreed on the 3rd of March, which is probably Wednesday. So you've still got a few days left to go over there and get your votes in, and we can report that like tens, in fact over 100,000 of people have voted. And we're not even there yet. So go and get your voice heard. If you see a game you like and you want to give it the props that it probably deserves, then go and do so. And more and more now we're seeing mobile games appearing in kind of mainstream awards, aren't we? They pop up in the dice. I mean, like, mainstream awards now have a category, but I remember the upset one year when, like, who won it? I think wasn't it like Superstar Soccer or something won the best sports game BAFTA, beating like FIFA and all of that lot. Yeah. And there was uproar, but that was another game, like the Superstar Soccer thing, where it was a really unusual take on football management. But it's also got a small bit of play in there, and then it's idle and all the rest of it, and people were like, that's really clever, and it became a huge New Star Soccer. That's it, not Superstar. That was a sequel, and it really took over everywhere. And I think the people at FIFA were like, "What? But look at my polygons! Oh, my polygons over here, guy! What the hell?" They were put out. So you can go and get your small niche game boosted up a list and also just cover. It's got all the big stuff in there as well. Whatever you like, choose the things that you're interested in. The votes will then close next week, and we will come back, and I believe it's March 16th. We'll be revealing the winners over on the site. There'll probably be a live stream to go with it, so stay tuned for that one as well. Now, before I embarrass myself on stream even further, let's go and have a look at another game before we go. Here we go. Polytheta there. Let me throw this up for you. So this is a game from Alejandro Zielinski, which is going to be releasing later in the year. We are here to say that not only will it be coming to iOS, it's also going to come on Android as well, which has been previously unreleased info. But as you saw from the little trailery bits there, you're going to be guiding a woman named Maya around these environments, which are, I believe, her dreams. That's what we've been informed. And they take you to a different location, and you end up solving puzzles. Now, the first thing I thought of when I saw this was Monument Valley.
Indeed.
Which the developer has cited as a real inspiration for it. But the other thing, I mean, even more than Monument Valley, I think of the Go series, Hitman Go, Lara Croft Go, all that.
Yeah, it does look a lot like Lara Croft Go, actually.
With the character moving around sort of tile by tile and leaping around. Whereas Monument Valley was more about almost manipulating the environment more than the character. But certainly the art style is a bit of a crossover there. I am on record as loving those Go games. I thought they were, once again, a great way of bringing something that is traditionally a console title and then morphing it into something that fits on mobile. And I could have happily had 6 more of those. But it was one of those ones where I think that the games themselves were critically successful and commercially fine. Like, they made some money but not loads. Whereas I remember talking to Square Enix at the time, and they said that like Lara Croft Go, yeah, that wins all the awards. Hitman Go, that won a bunch of awards. But Hitman Sniper, where it's that first person kind of hunting sim, that's what pays the bills. That's the thing that is making all of the money. And it just shows you kind of how, like, you have to move with the undulations of the market a little bit. Indeed. if you want to keep your company alive, which is a bummer. And as we've said many times on these streams, it's like, people rail against free to play, and I understand it, but also people do it because it works. And if it didn't work, if people weren't spending money and enjoying doing it, they would stop because it wouldn't make any money. It's like the shareholders thing. If it's not making money, then we're not going to do it. Yeah. So someone must be enjoying it, even if it's not necessarily your or my cup of tea. But this one is going to be a premium game, no free to play business here. So $3.99 or £3.99. You can read a little bit more about Alejandro and his sort of take on the game and where they pulled their influences from. And it's got a nice soundtrack. It's got one of those relaxing, chill. You were saying earlier about kind of like puzzlers being quite zen. This feels like one of those.
Indeed, yeah.
Relaxy one. So out later in the year. We do not have the release date yet. There was one confirmed. This is the one which got delayed a little bit, not the previous game. So we'll let you know when the live date appears, but in the meantime, keep your eyes peeled for it. Polytheta is the name of that one. Right. We're coming into the last half an hour of the stream, and that means it's time to play something. So let me get rid of this, and let me throw up some visuals for you. Let's do Hunt Down.
The time has come to awake the machine intended for those who don't look for an easy way out. Enter a future where crime rules the streets When the citizens are in trouble, they call the authorities. When the authorities are in trouble, they call the bounty hunters.
Showtime!
Anaconda. She knows the meaning of life. That's why she can take it away so easily.
I'll blow your head off!
Her jacket size says 38. Special. And her favorite smell is fear.
Die!
John Sawyer. Cyborg. He's been a man since he was a boy.
Enjoy your flight.
Everything he owns is made out of metal.
Oh, reliable.
His blood type spells AK-47.
Get out of my sight!
Though he only donates other people's blood.
Yeah.
Horror has a name. It's Mo-Man. But those who stand in the killer machine's path know him by the name Grim Reaper.
Why don't they just sterilize the population?
He knows everything except mercy.
Empathy module not responding.
When Mo-Man looks at you, you look at your grave.
Batter up. Strike.
You may hunt down those who have it coming.
Get up! Do your job!
Too bad they all have it coming. The Hoodlum Dolls. Yeah. The Misconducts. The Heat Seekers. The #1 suspects. Hunt them down and make a healthy living by making living unhealthy. In
Hunt down.
Alright then, let's throw up an image. Hunt down. This came out last year. This was a 2020 dealio and appeared on consoles, did well, and now it's coming over to iOS. It's coming so over to iOS, in fact, that I've got it right here. Oh yeah, well, that's quite loud actually. Now again, tell me to put volume up or down in the chat, whatever. I can hear it well, but I don't know what you can hear. So, character select screen. I've not played this yet. So, we're going to see what happens. Now the real question is, am I Anaconda, which is a good pun name? That is good. I like it. That's up there with, what was that? There's a shark movie where they had a seagull character, like she's stranded out in the middle of nowhere. It's called The Shallows. It's called The Shallows, and it's Blake Lively stranded on a rock, and a seagull keeps turning up, and she calls the seagull Steven Seagull.
Christ.
Yep, yes. I think I'm gonna have to go with Anaconda. That's too good.
It's perfect.
That is the level that we're operating on here today. Okay, let's have this. So we need to see how well the controls handle on touch screen. Now, how are you for like old-fashioned 16-bit platformers? Is this a thing that you ever got into?
Yeah, I love this. This is the perfect kind of style that I'm into. It's it's got it's drenched in 80s references, isn't it? They're all over the place. The style is perfect. It's got that sort of cyberpunky Blade Runner thing going on. It's it's right up my street.
Yes, they're leaning into the 16-bit of it all, and that's another thing where people maybe go, oh, there's a lot of 16-bit games again. They're being all retro and all that kind of stuff. And yes, that's true, but also there is that element of like, look, 16-bit graphics and 8-bit graphics are easier to do generally with a smaller team. So if you are maybe a smaller studio with just a few people, it's one of the best ways to kind of get into making games and getting games out there without having to have an army of 100 people behind you dealing with Unreal 5. So, it's, again, not just necessarily an aesthetic choice, but equally, it can be done well, and it can be done maybe not so well. And I think if you were around the first time, you can kind of spot the good 16-bit stuff. I like a good bit of dithering, nice little dithering in the shading, that's what I'm looking for. It's class. Yeah, and they seem to have done well here. Right, there's chatty plot business going on. I think I might skip it. I'm sorry. I don't want to be... I'm sure the writing's great, guys, well done. But I want to start shooting people with a woman with a pun name. That's what I'm here for. Right. I'm going to get trash now, aren't I? Go! What are we dealing with? Okay, we got ourselves a D-pad, we got ourselves a jump, we got ourselves a fire button, that's what's important. I assume that's reload. Maybe weapon switch, don't know. Axe! I can throw axes!
Perfect. Game of the year.
Game of the year! Now we're talking. Right, get stuck in there. Brilliant. So did you, I suppose, people sometimes, rarely actually ask, but my handle online is Metal Slag, which is not supposed to be a terrible slur. It is supposed to be A, self-deprecating, and B, obviously a reference to Metal Slug, which is a classic version of one of these kind of 16-bit platformers that come charging about. Another one which has incredible visuals. Like, nothing looks like Metal Slug. Whoa! Oh no, they're in the background, it's fine.
You know what, I've known you a while, and I'm glad that was finally explained, the old Twitter handle, because I've just never asked about it.
No.
Now I know.
Now you know. Well, it's ambivalent now where people are probably looking at it going, is he being rude or something, or unnecessarily hostile? Like, no. I just think it's a fun, again, it's a fun pun, and that's all I'm interested in. Right, down you down. There we go. So pressing down to go through. Yeah, that's what we do. That kind of down and hold down on the D-pad and then press jump to drop below level. That's classic 16-bit platforming business, that is. That barrel's going to explode, but I've got no one to blow it up next to. Oh well, I might as well. Oh, worth it! There was a briefcase in there.
Cash collected.
We all love a briefcase.
We do. Are you one of those people that whenever a level starts, the first thing I tend to do is like run backwards?
Yeah, because there's always something, usually, isn't there? Hidden bit. That's where all the pros go. You don't run where the level's telling you to go, you go the opposite way.
Exactly. That's what I'm into. This guy was talking about repairs, but I can't do anything to him, so I'm just going to jump up here instead. Oh, Ed, whoa! This lad. Hang on. There's far too many people here suddenly. Come back. Everyone come down here one by one. That's what we want. Beautiful.
And stay down.
Oh, I see, they're hiding. That dude is hiding in the shadowy bit. So if I step into the shadowy bit, that counts as me going like back against the wall so they can't shoot me. I like it.
Interesting.
That's
Stealth.
good stuff.
Bit
Yeah,
of stealth.
bit of stealth. And not the bad kind of stealth. Not the forced stealth. Shotgun!
Who wants some?
Devastating. Right, I'm already getting the right kind of the right aromatic notes off of this one. Yikes. Right, so I can just take cover by diving into...
Take cover!
Yeah, no, it's giving me the cover mechanic now of that hiding in the shadows bit. Yeah! That's good! That's clever, I like that. That's a bit different. Nice. I'm going to
With
keep
the
the shotgun.
limitation of 2D, it's good to have those mechanics, isn't it? The hiding mechanics and the...
Well, in some ways, they have the 2-point, oh god, I'm going to have to run back, I'm going to die, and I'm extremely dead. Right, so I think new tactic there, just jump in and out of the shadows and don't charge at the big van.
Don't run at the car.
Yeah, I think that's the move. So, time it right. Oh, I'm back to my Poxy Uzi. Get it. Tell you what, sound effects are decent. They've got a real big crowd sound going on. Nice, got him. Right, now.
Sweet dreams.
3 shots off and then hide. Yes. That's the technique. It's a good job all these gangsters fire at exactly the same time. That's very good of them. Run. Devastating. Nearly there. Chipping away. Have it. All very nice. Sturdy explosions. Again, the dithering. Good dithering.
I love a dither.
I'm getting called out in the chat for charging the van. Look, the heart wants what it wants, okay? What else we got going on?
Checkpoint.
This car design here, I'm getting a big Total Recall Johnny Cabs vibe off of this. Which I approve of. So as I understand it, this is done dead well on consoles, even though I haven't played, the console version. Maybe I should have, in order to compare and contrast, but I'm happy with how this is handling. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm at a massive disadvantage. Which is a problem with a lot of these platformers where I feel like I wish I had a controller. Come on, come down here. This gun I've got right now, this is making me feel like in the original Robocop, They all get these impossibly large, like, hand cannons at the end. They look like they've been ripped off a tank. This has got that vibe. And I'm down with it. Someone else is hiding. Get him quick. Health. And hide. Health. Yeah.
This
Nice.
is a dirty business, sugar.
You know what I haven't done is I haven't lobbed an axe.
We're 5
Axe.
minutes in, I haven't lobbed an axe.
Ooh,
What is happening?
The axe is effective. The axe is good. 1 axe kill. Right, here we go. Let's see who else is there. I'm going to check upstairs. Yeah, I feel like I'm in control of it, which is the most important thing. And it sounds like an obvious thing to say, but like when it comes to these touchscreen platforms, it can be so hit and miss. You can feel like you're like jabbing at the screen and constantly missing the buttons just because of their placement, and little things like that really throw you off, you know. Oh god.
With sufficient thrust, pigs fly just fine.
They've got a mad cockney. I'm going to blow him up with a barrel. Oh, Christ, it didn't work. He's got more health than that. I didn't realise. Christ. All right. Yeah.
Told you.
Certainly did.
Wanna taste the dog?
I got complacent. Yikes! And he's got a pal downstairs. Okay, this is going to be trickier than I thought. Come on. I want to drag him near that barrel. There's another barrel down there. Right, you, here. He can't shoot range, can he? Oh, he can! He's got a ranged attack. I'm doomed. Ah, and I'm dead against the floor. Right. Now I know. Jump and get it. Lovely. He's blown himself up with a barrel. That's good. I like it. I'm going to hide in there for a minute. Yeah, he throws knives or machetes or something. Oh, hide. Yes. This hide mechanic is clever. Oh no, he's got a mate with a baseball bat. All is lost. Oh, I've jumped up when I meant to stay on the same level. Oh, I think we all got blown up then. It's just me and him. This is good. Right, come up here. Yes.
Right here.
A bit. Oh, he's just chasing me now like a lunatic. I've got a bit of health as well. It's all coming up Millhouse. Oh, wait. I thought I was in cover then, and I wasn't. He's still got half his health bar. What? Okay, come on. He's just sidling around, spinning his chain. Run away. I'm going to bravely retreat. They've got a health bar.
Challenge.
A health jar, I should say, and I want it. Grab. I cannot lose this now, Danielle. Yes!
I believe.
Thank you. I'm not sure I do. Come on. We're so nearly there. Nah, you can't get me there, can you? Jump! I'm going to just whittle him down. Oh, he's got a sliver. Yes!
Love to see it.
Have it.
Bounty collected.
Yeah. Now, if my name wasn't a pun, I wouldn't have been able to manage that. Through the sheer power of wordplay, I was victorious.
I was while you were getting absolutely kicked in there. I was reading about the plot, and the story sees you playing as a bounty hunter who is hired to lay waste in the criminal underworld, which is perfect. Sounds great.
Sure.
All in the name of making some cash. It's obviously a very slimy cyberpunk city, so that fits right in, doesn't it?
Yep.
Lucrative career choice, but you got to do what you've got to do in the cyberpunk world.
Ooh. Well, I've picked up a grenade. I've now got grenades instead of axes. So I'm tempted to shoot him and wake him up, but let's try. Oh, that works much better than I expected. And Gibbs. There are Gibbs. Yes. Good choice. All right. Let's crack on. Ooh. Lots of these little, places for hiding. I like how that's baked in. Again, I'm not sure I've seen that before. Those little recesses where you... Oh, crap. They're coming on quite strong.
Lights out.
I would very much like to blow up that red barrel, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, that'll do it. Nice. I love a chain reaction. I'm going to assume I can... Treats in the barrel? No treats in the barrel. Oh well. I'm going to... This guy's too close. Let's jump down. Pew, and start shooting from behind. Some say it's the coward's way. I call it strategy.
Indeed.
Get it. Oh, the cars can be blown up as well. Oh, sick. I am a sucker for environmental destruction as well. When you can blow up the things around, yeah, that makes me happy.
Love it. You've got all sorts in here. There's machine guns, there's katanas, and there's lasers, and I know you love a laser.
I do. Katanas? Oh, I'm not
Indeed.
for that. Right.
They're here!
I'll get ya.
Stop them, you morons!
Right. Ooh. Yeah. You can duck the bullets too. Right. Add that to the list of things I should have been doing all along. Lock the barrel. Splendid. Whoa. Some of the incidental chat's quite good as well. They've got the barks, the NPC barks down. Whoa. He's ducking down now. He's gotten wise. Ooh. Yeah. I was kind of asking for that. Right. Let's get some health. Yes. Do I want the shotgun? Yes. I'm going to switch to the shotgun.
Always yes.
I know. I don't know why I bothered asking. Oh, yeah. Don't mind if I do. Oh, you can slide in behind cover. It does, like... When I came in and sort of went down, it did the lock. The Gears of War lock. Pretty good. Go on then. That shotgun is cruel. Oh, God. Too close to that barrel. I don't like it. Have it. I can't. My instinct is to sort of adjust my position when I'm hiding, but the moment you tap anything, left or right, you just pop out again, so actually it's a terrible idea. Whoa! Whoa! Being chased by a dude with a Mohican. I knew I'd die like this.
Classic.
It's just like the fortune teller said. Have it. Yeah.
How do you like that, huh?
So it's doing a nice balance actually between the kind of standard run and gun, just like charge ahead and blast everything, but you do have to stop, you do have to pause, you do have to use cover, which is maybe, I don't know, less familiar. I always associate these things with just like running and gunning and not thinking a great deal.
Bye-bye, darling.
Okay. Well, I've got full health, so I don't need those yet. I'll save them, just in case. Get the barrel, get the barrel, get the barrel! Yeah, we'll get it anyway. There we go. I like watching things explode. That's enough for me! Oh, I've got an actual rifle. AK-47. Let's have it. Whoa! And they've popped up again. Nice. That's got a sturdy... Oh, there's a crowbar. Do I abandon the machine gun, the reliable machine gun, in favour of the crowbar?
I do love a good melee weapon, is the thing.
I'm inviting death here, but I'm going to use the crowbar.
It's not a katana, but, you know, you can work your way up.
It's no katana. I'm hoping this is going to be a one-hit kill deal. Let's find out. Ooh, the answer is yes. And try again. Drop and die. Oh my god, it's so good. I'm completely turned around on this crowbar business. It rules. Okay, baseball bat boy, have it. Not so good against the guns, of course. And no, this is nice. I'm getting warm feelings. Warm genocidal feelings.
What feelings about bludgeoning people to death with a crowbar?
Yeah. Oh, I can activate something. What am I activating? I'm breaking the glass door! Run away! They've got a baseball bat. Grenade.
Fire in the hole.
Right, that didn't work out well at all.
No, you didn't.
Okay, good. We've got some health. We're okay, we're still on track. I keep forgetting. I get in the habit of this, like, forgetting that I have these additional, like, secondary weapons. I was saying to Charlie yesterday that I was one of those people who would end up hoarding items because you might need them. You know, better not spend that money, better not use that item because it might come up later. And inevitably it doesn't and you finish the game with loads.
Yep.
But I'm also equally guilty of, like, picking something up and going, cool, and then completely forgetting I have it.
I too am a hoarder.
Oh, are you gonna pay?
Oh. Wait a minute, hang on, sorry. I can pick up a gun. Not a gun. I can pick up a guitar and use it as a weapon.
Hello.
Right, now we're talking. I've got a Stratocaster. Let's batter some folks. Have it! Whoa!
You got owned.
And your mate as well. Come on. Lovely. Oh, they've got an Gibson Flying V there too. Come on. Come out from behind your barrel. Actually, grenade.
They're all over the place.
That was Gibby. Good and Gibby. Surprise! I've lost the gun. The guitar. The guitar was... That's a high point for me.
The melee weapons are selling it. I mean, I love
They
a
really
good
are.
gun, but this is perfect.
I'm getting satisfying connections, and I wasn't expecting to be able to do it with a 6 string, so all the better.
Finally, son! My knuckles!
I was meant to ask, did you? Because I know you were involved with music, in not just a listening capacity, but in a proper, like, you managed bands and or into it and all that. Do you play anything? Did you ever get involved in it on the playing stuff side?
Yeah, I play a bit of piano.
Okay.
I used to be a bit of a singer back in the day. I always wanted to be good at playing guitar. It never landed with me. My dad is a guitar teacher.
Okay.
So you know, it's quite
It's
a
in the
natural thing
family.
for me to do.
Yeah.
But I was just never as good at it. But it's
Right.
just a cool instrument, isn't it? To play and to hit people over the head. So
Yes. It's difficult to batter someone to death with your vocal cords, but well, you just do the scream, don't you? The traditional banshee scream. That's how you defeat an enemy with singing. But yeah,
hitting
big bit
people
of
with cogs are a bit unwieldy. Hard to grip.
God, this guy he's pure melee, so I'm trying to keep my distance, but he's persistent. That grenade's going to be miles away. Ugh. There is a shotgun down there. I think I need the shotgun. Let's get it. Quick, change. Right, here we go. Have it. The amount of, like, egregious cockney going on in this game, my god. Everyone is just doing the full Jason Statham. Yeah. Oh god, he's going to go beast mode, isn't he? What? He's gone back, pumped some iron, and he's recharged his health. And now he's got dumbbells. And he throws them. Oh god. What? This is getting
You've
out
not
of
learned
hand.
yet. Everything's a melee weapon in this game. Everything.
Yeah, apparently. Disarm. I'm gonna get up here. If I lob a grenade from above, I'm back to axes. I have an axe. And another one. Oh no, I've run out of axes. Help! Oh my god, they bounce all over the shop. They're really difficult to dodge. No! I appear to be losing my cool. I don't think I've got any more health jars kicking around. Oh no, I'm getting scudded in the back. Yeah, it's not looking good for Anaconda.
More like Anaconda.
Whoa there! Easy now.
It's too much. It's too much.
Right, I got battered. I'm going to have to try and grab this Uzi. We are coming to the end of this stream. Oh god, we're very close to the end of the stream.
We
3
are.
minutes, in fact. Right, in which case, we should probably say, A, this is Huntdown. It is going to be coming to the Apple Store and the Google Play Store at some point this year. We don't know exactly when, but 2021 is the day. I wouldn't be surprised if it was premium, but don't hold me to that. I do not know what their pricing plan is. But now, after this, I'm looking forward to carrying on with it and taking out this evil-looking man. In the meantime, if you want to hear more about this game and all the other games that we played and talked about during the course of the show, then why aren't you already over at pocketgamer.com and have it bookmarked? Because that's where we tell you about all this good stuff. Equally, if you like the video side of things, you like to see your games as well as read about them, then Pocket Gamer's YouTube channel is where you will find us. Do chuck us a subscribe over there, because there's more videos like the one I showed earlier. There's more videos like this where you get to watch me fail. And there's everything else in between. We do news, we do updates, we do all that business as well. Danielle, do your PG Biz pitch.
Indeed, yeah. We are over on pocketgamer.biz. God, got confused there. And we cover all of the business side of games. And I'm going to find any excuse to talk to the developers of Huntdown, because this game looks great. I'm sure there's some incredible development stories in there. So yeah, head on over to pocketgamer.biz, where I will shoehorn my way into talking about this game somehow.
Nice one, do that. And also, you launched your own site with some people this week, didn't you? I've got to say it, get a chance in.
I did.
Shout
did launch a consumer site. It's called overload.co.uk. It's about 5 days old, but there's some content on there. We've reviewed a bunch of games. We reviewed a Crazy Taxi clone called Taxi Chaos. We've reviewed the new, the less new Super Mario 3D. Tons of content over there. Some features. Some stupid takes.
Nice.
So if you fancy that, some spicy games coverage, then yeah, head on over to overload.co.uk.
I was extremely
LODE.
LODE, isn't it? Yeah.
Everyone keeps spelling it wrong. We didn't foresee that.
That's what you get for doing a cool pun name. I told you, the puns will be the death of you.
Yeah, they
yes.
will, and they are.
But if it's mobile coverage that you're after and the stuff that you've seen in this stream so far, and the one from yesterday, then pocketgamer.com is the destination. Now, make sure that you come back and join us next time, because we will be back again. We're going to be doing this show intermittently over the course of the next year. So we'll be back and we'll be bringing you more exclusives, more new games releases, news announcements, and hands-on with stuff that has never previously been revealed. So do come back and get involved with us. We'd love to see you for more LaunchPad stuff. Likewise, you, Danielle, thank you so much for joining me today.
Always a pleasure. Hope to see you at the next one.
And I'm not happy that this Hecan dude joined me. He sucks. He can stay away. But the rest of you, come back and join us next time. Check out Pocket Gamer and all the associated sister channels. And we really appreciate you all watching. We will see you next time.